So I finally got my spare parts from Backfire 2 today. It's the second time I've had an ESC problem, but they have been really good on their customer service. They've sent me out 2 new units. This is the second one. I'm going to go open the box and see. I have a feeling they've sent me the upgraded version for which should be like the Backfire 2, the second edition. So I think I've got a new controller coming in and a new SC, which is meant to have better battery life and all this kind of stuff. At the same time, I also got some new wheels, got the 96 mils, so I'm going to chuck those on the bag, on the board, sorry, and you can watch my disastrous attempt at trying to piece this together. So we'll go to the table and have a look. So this is a new unit that they've sent, which actually looks really, really sick. It came with like a rubber mat here. So this is definitely from the new upgraded, I think it's called the Backfire S board, which is meant to be fully waterproof, which is absolutely awesome. This is the new ESC drive, which I'll compare it to the old one. So you can see there's quite a massive difference. This one looks fully waterproof. The cabling looks really neat. The soldering looks awesome. The box is contained as well inside, which you can't really see, compared to the old one, which, you know, bear in mind that Backfire 2 came from a Kickstarter campaign originally. So I think that, you know, your expectations when you do support a campaign, bear in mind you get like loads of money off. You know, this is kind of what you'd expect, but what you can see is that money that they raised has gone into the investment of this new ESC drive. It looks really good. I'm super stoked, and it's super cool. I know earlier I said about how they had, you know, I'd gone through 2 of these ESC drives. I do a lot of skating every day, probably 5 to 7 to 8 miles or something like that. I go through the streets of Saigon, which, if you didn't know, are generally flooded. They're nothing like most roads you see in Western. This is like a developing nation, so. You know, the roads, your board gets a bit of a smack around here for sure. So what we're going to do is we're going to fit the new parts together. I did take out my battery unit as well in preparation. So first of all, we're going to chuck this back on. Then we're going to chuck the other battery unit in. Maybe in a week or so, I am going to change this battery unit for a new Sanyo batteries, which gives you about 35% more range. Supposedly it just about fits into the other container. I don't know what new batteries Backfire are using for their new Ranger board, but I guess we'll find out if I go ahead and use it. I will be honest again with, you know, I pay for this like everyone else. I wasn't massively disappointed the fact that it broke. I knew the risks of, as you do, backing any kind of campaign out there. But as well as that, as well as kind of knowing the risks, you do kind of, you know, hope that the company's going to do really well. Their customer service at Backfire has really stepped up a notch. There was no argument, there was no complaints. They asked me to send them a video of the ESC actually not working. They sent me these new wheels, which, you know, it turned out it wasn't actually the hubs had gone wrong. These came out within 2 days. Okay, I'm pretty near to Hong Kong where the factory is, but still these came out 2 days. This took a little bit longer, I think about 2 weeks. So I have had some downtime with the board, but again, it's a brand new company, so I guess from me it's like give the guys a break and kudos for upgrading me. Thank you very much. So what we're going to do is we're going to work our way through putting this back together. I'll try, and if there's any kind of fiddly bits or weird bits, I will stop the video and record or re-record if I tend to mess up. Okay. I'm trying to get my head in the video as well as this. One of the things that did happen actually before was when I took this off, and I had to do it a couple of times, is this bolt here. I'll just bring it slightly closer to the camera. You can just see it actually sheared off from here. So pliers, wrenching tool. We'll see if we can get this little bad boy out. You'll probably see from like the inside of this, it's pretty dirty. Like, oh shit. What's happening here? Don't know if that's ever going to come out. That is really wedged in there. Now we've sheared that off. So we're not going to use that bolt. We'll just keep on going anyway. So probably a good idea, I've just noticed here, is this is pretty grubby. So we're going to go and get a quick cloth on and just give this a little clean up. You can just hear me, but you can't see my mug. I'm really not the most technical person in the world. I would go as far to say far from being the most technical person in the world, but I will do my best. So this is actually a sticky pad, so that needs to be dry. We can use some of it. We'll just give this a little draft. So this is a little sticky pad, so I presume we go sticky side up. That would seem like the sensible thing to do. So we'll just take that off. Luckily there's kind of like, you can just about see, I'll just lift the ball up. You can see there's like a little outlining which actually gives you the indication of which way this goes. But we're going to bring this up through these two wires here. We're just going to bring these wires up, and then we are going to try our best to match it up. Oh, that's real sticky. Match it up with all our things here. You're gonna, and if anyone wants to kind of give me comments or feel free. As I say, I'm really okay, that looks pretty good. So I guess with this little rubber thing on, actually it's gonna only study, it's probably only like 4 mil, but you'd imagine it's definitely gonna bring the this height a little bit further. I don't know what I've just done with that. Oh, here we go. I mean, actually, for the most part, I don't think I've actually done much harm on my old truck. So you can definitely see on this end where I've smashed into kind of like speed bumps and small children and stuff. And kind of run things over. So what's different on this side to this side? They made this, actually, one of the things I did like was it was really obvious which way round it went. Obviously the button goes on this side here, which would marry up with here, and then you have a one for the right hand side and one for the left, so it was pretty easy to kind of figure out where this stuff goes. Not that it's going to be massively complicated, but we may actually put it the wrong way around at first. I'm not sure that actually will make any difference. What else did we have? We had that. Because there's no casing. Oh, there is a casing. So we'll have a little look. So this was the old casing, which went on the top of the unit to keep everything kind of watertight. There is actually a thing, but that doesn't so that is gone for good. So it's going to go this way up with the button here pointing as far up the board as you possibly can get it. Things we definitely have to plug in. Not so worried because we don't have a battery, but we can plug in the main plug, which is that one there, yellow to yellow. And then what we're going to do is we're going to guess a little bit to connect in all our other wires. So you had 2 of these wires, so we are going to try and keep to this side. I presume that when they thought about this, that they were going to keep this together. I hope you guys can see here. So we have a little tab, and we're just going to pop these 2 together here, if they fit, which you kind of hope they would. Yeah, so that just pops in there. Same for the other side. We're going to pop this one in through here. And then remember we had, again, they make it super simple. They have 3 colour wires. I knew as soon as I said that they weren't going to have the right colours. We have a blue, a yellow, and we have this is kind of funny. This, you know, you say something and then you're going like, oh, I know they're gonna fuck with me here. So they have three colours. They have a blue, a green, and a yellow. And these wires are obviously, we have got a blue, so we are gonna do that together. And then the other ones is a red and a yellow. Oh, we got a yellow. That's okay. Yellow and yellow. And we'll just presume that when they decided to change the colours, I can't, you know, it's funny stuff like this is they must have these conversations when they're making things, and they say, hey, let's change the colour, and someone goes, why? And they go, oh, you know, well, it probably won't affect that many people, and then possibly, because I haven't seen any other of these videos done on YouTube, possibly the first person who chucks one up, a little review of how to do something, is the person who is using like the old deck with the new technology and attaching attaching wires which may or may not go together. I really miss getting around the city fast. So we're going to pop all these together. I am going to kind of grab the video after this and actually show how they look. So what I've done is to put the green to the red, the yellow, and the blue to the blue. I guess that's, you know, logically, if you're thinking logically, that is how I would do it. Just going to make sure this wire here is definitely set with these. I did mention before when I was looking at this a previous time that, you know, it's pretty obvious they tend to bunch these three wires together so you don't get any kind of cross porting, cross electrical stuff. I don't know, whatever it's called. Anyway, cross something or other. So again, we're putting the blue to the blue, we're going to put the yellow to the yellow, and we're going to put the green to the green on the red. So I guess if this does go badly, then we know not to put the red wire on the green, I guess. And then just pop these things up. I am actually going to do this all a bit better at a later stage, but just in case something's wrong and I have wired this up incorrectly, that way we can take it off a little bit quicker. Now I do notice what is strange. So that all goes in together. We've got this little, there's another little wire here which I presume is for making sure the skateboard's grounded. No idea what it's going to go to, so it's going to stay where they stuck it. I can't see any other reason, it's coming off anyway. And then we're going to just pop this back together like this, as best we can. I always find it strange when they make stuff like so that's all pretty. Ooh, a few wires here. Get that one under there. So obviously that looks like it's matching. So we're going to grab our new nut washers and our new nuts, which you can see just here, which I've got. Well, actually I didn't just get 6, I got loads of them. I have no idea what, maybe they were just feeling generous, or maybe it was to replace the other side, you know, I don't really know, but whatever, we've got lots of them, so we'll use them, use the new ones. Remember, we are missing, unfortunately, that big bolt, which is meant to go through the board, which obviously kind of defeats the object of them sending me something which is waterproof, but that's not the Allen key, is it? Okay, what have we got? This is the one there. And then we're just going to tighten these up. It's funny, like when you learn about, because I probably like the rest of you learn from doing or seeing on YouTube and stuff what you're meant to be doing. That is not good. You know, you learn and people say put the screws in a certain way. I do know how to change a wheel of a car, and I do know how to change a wheel on a motorbike and a bus, for that matter. So normally is you just screw everything in slightly loosely, right? I was thinking of righty tighty, lefty loosey, and then at a slightly, once you've kind of got everything kind of secured in, then you kind of go back to those bolts. I don't really know why. Google it. It's probably something to do with distribution. It's probably a scientist who works out there who came up with a plan. Let's get rid of that. There we go. But you never see racing car drivers do it, do you, when they change wheels? Just as a thought. They kind of just seem to do it really quick. Oh, I guess there's only one bolt, actually. That's probably why. Isn't there? Yeah, I think there's one bolt. But we're going to do what science tells us to do. I go along the principle of if people study stuff, and by the power of three, actually, if there's 3 people out there. Let's just move this up a little bit. Ooh, that's down. If there's 3 people who say the same things, I'm not talking about 3 stupid people. I'm talking about 3 people you can kind of trust for an opinion generally. But there's 3 of those people out there, and they give you an opinion on something. Maybe it's right. If it's the same opinion. But that doesn't mean you should be closed-minded. Because that's why Donald Trump is sadly a Prime Minister, and British government is where it is today with a fascist regime in place. I'm not getting onto politics. Not yet. Don't give me beer. So we've got 2 in. As I've said 3 times. I can repeat myself all day long if you like. I haven't got that nut. So I'm sure at one stage I will go to the hardware store. Maybe that'll be a little adventure on the board. I can take you around Vietnam and show you how good my language skills have got as of recently. Not very good, but might be able to demonstrate something. Now what I was meant to do I wasn't meant to actually do that. I've just realised. I've left the little thing out, but whatever. We're going to plug the battery in. Do I need the thing? I do. Move that over there. So we're going to plug it in. I should have seen if we've got any juice on this. We do. That's good. I'm sure we're going to have some pairing issues. Actually, when I've done this before on an ESC drive, as a little FYI, is sometimes you have to let the whole unit power down, completely empty, to get this and your new ESC drive to actually start working together. So you just turn the battery on, let it go flat, turn it back on, and it pairs up. Don't know why it does it. Science again. Someone scientific out there knows what they're talking about. Now, these little yellow, look, again, not great with electricity. I have been electrocuted doing this before. Ooh, not today. Okay, so we have a light going on, flashing. We have power to the thing. We have connection. And we have a new working thing. We'll check that out. So that took 16 minutes, including me talking and including me doing some other stuff. So that looks like that works. It looks like... Sounds good, doesn't it? I think we're going to have to go for a little escape. So that is part 1. I did make a little error. I don't know, probably someone, I guess if anyone ever watches this, saw that this wire was sticking out. So I am going to stick that back in. This is not really one of those kind of people who does, always does the right thing, the practical thing. That's not how I live my life. You can probably see a skydiving rig in the background there. maybe I make bad choices, maybe they're good ones, but you know, I am going to do my best. I have said at the beginning of this year to try and actually do things a bit better, and to kind of work on completing projects properly rather than going at them somewhat half cut. So we're just going to undo this, and we're going to just check the wires are out. I'm just going to turn this battery thing off for 1 second. Man, actually this new controller felt really good, by the way. Not that I didn't like the other one, and actually what I am going to probably do is I am going to go out at some point this week and try and find a little man who does electronics to see if I can fix the other 2 ESCs, because I know it sounds a bit naughty or a bit bad. Backfire did send me out, as I say, a new set of hubs, and it turned out those hubs were actually okay in the first place, and I've now got everything I need apart from a deck and the battery, which I told you I'm getting, you know, probably going to get a new Sanyo battery that next week. But one of the weird things was I was like, oh man, maybe I should get a new, the Ranger, because it does look pretty good. But I couldn't get a straight answer of whether they were going to use the Sanyo or not, so we'll find out. So that is how to change an ESC drive. I'll probably do another second video just to show me putting the battery back on, but I can't see that actually being massively complicated. It's pretty much the same thing. You get an Allen key, you screw it all together, hey presto, everyone's a winner. So that's it. Thanks for watching.